A lot of founders are exhausted from posting content, not because they're lazy and not because they aren't capable, but because deep down inside, they're starting to realize that the effort isn't worth the outcome. It starts feeling strange spending hours writing, filming, editing, and distributing, all just to get a couple of likes, maybe a comment, and still no real movement in your business. A part of the problem is that the internet convinced an entire generation of entrepreneurs that being helpful online was enough to grow a business. And it's not. And while you're burning yourself out trying to become a full-time creator, nobody really explained how people move from watching your content to actually buying from you. This is why so many founders end up posting for months, sometimes years, without their content ever really changing their business. And eventually, you start resenting the entire process altogether because now content doesn't feel like an opportunity anymore. It feels like another full-time job that still isn't paying off. So in this video, I'm going to show you why being helpful online is rarely enough to create demand and what actually makes somebody trust you enough to buy. You ever open up Netflix and you're trying to find something to watch and somehow you spend so much time scrolling that now your food is cold, it's late, and the time you would have spent actually watching the movie got wasted trying to pick one? That's exactly what the internet feels like now. There's already more information online than people know what to do with. Unfortunately, a lot of business owners are building content the same way that people scroll on Netflix, with endless options, endless information, but no real structure behind any of it. To be clear, this isn't because you're bad at content. A lot of business owners are making genuinely helpful videos. The problem is people watching your content is not the same as them wanting to buy from you. And somewhere along the way, founders started confusing views, engagement, and acknowledgement of helpfulness with actual business growth. So now you're spending hours with scripts, filming, and editing while trying to stay consistent, all because you think if you just help enough people, clients will eventually or naturally follow. But that's usually not what happens. What happens instead is your audience watches your content, learns something, maybe even follows you, and then they go on about their day. Because most value content never actually leads anywhere. There's no real next step, no real structure or reason for somebody to stop consuming and actually take action. This is partially because you're scared of making offers in your content. You're afraid of sounding too salesy. You don't want every video to feel like a commercial, and this is all understandable. But now, instead of making those offers, you just keep teaching, you keep helping, and you keep posting, hoping that the value alone will do the selling for you. But information by itself rarely gives viewers a reason to buy. Simply put, people don't buy because they've learned something. Most of the information your audience needs already exists. They can just Google it, watch a YouTube video about it, or ask ChatGPT. Information isn't hard to find anymore. Belief is. Because before somebody reaches out, book a call, or even takes your offer seriously, a few things have to happen first. They have to believe that their problem is real. They have to believe that their problem is costing them something. And they have to believe what they're currently doing probably isn't going to get them to where they want to go. That's why a lot of value content fails. It gives people information without changing the way that they see the problem that they're facing. And this is where most business owners accidentally start creating content around activity instead of belief. More posts, consistency, value. But if the way somebody sees their situation never changes, then your content is really just a form of distraction. Think about it. You've probably watched creators who gave amazing information and still never once thought about buying from them. Not because they aren't smart or not because they didn't make important points inside of their messaging, but because nothing in the content that you watched from them made you feel the urgency to jump up and bust a move. That's the difference. The content that usually drives a business isn't just educational. It shifts perspective. It helps people see the problem differently, feel the cost differently, and understand why what they're doing isn't working. That's what creates trust, not just information, because people don't pay when they're informed. They pay when they're convinced. But no, value content isn't inherently bad. It's the lack of structure behind the just give value advice that's the issue. And that may be the exact thing keeping you and your business stuck, because attention by itself doesn't create trust, and information by itself doesn't create demand. And once you realize that, you also start realizing why so many founders burn themselves out trying to keep up online. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to build a video content system that makes your content feels less like endless posting and more like a system designed to support your business growth. I'll see you there. Love.